Hello again, my dudes. This is Kadima with another video on my YouTube channel. Welcome to Kadima's Gaming Place. This is a video on my fighter build on Dragon's Dogma and what I am actually using. I have completed the game. I have leveled up quite a few classes, and I am in the process of maxing out the fighter class. The good thing about maxing out other classes as you go is that you can actually combine um, core the augments that you get from all the classes into whatever class you are using, and that combined with the core skills and the weapon skills that you get from each class, you can actually come up with fancy combinations that will benefit you on your journey on Dragon's Dogma 2. So in my opinion, this is so far fighter vocation done right. As a fighter, your priority is not only to tank the enemies, but at the same time to do as much damage as possible. As a fighter, your damage will come mostly from your strength stat, and if you take a quick look at my stats, yes, I'm level 65, which is a bit absurd. I have completed the story, um, and I am on my second playthrough. As for strength, I'm currently with 694. The reason for this 694 is, as you can see in my equipment, I got the Dragon's Dogma. It's not upgraded past the first upgrade. It's the only one that I have decided to go with so far, just for a little boost in the damage. As for the shield, I'm also using the Dragon Aegis just because it's the most OP shield in terms of defense, and in terms of the strength you get from hits when you're using this shield. When it comes to armor, this is all about fashion. You use whatever you want. I just suggest you go with the highest defense you can get, both magic and strength, because it will really just make you a tank. Even when you take damage from the strongest bosses, such as the dragons, you will feel just like a flesh wound, really. And then if you have a mage in your party, just like I recommend that you do, it will be doing all the healing while you do the tanking and the damage. So you'll be good to go. As for the rings, here's the only thing that I actually make a suggestion. If you can get a ring of quickening, this is great because it's going to boost your stamina recovery speed. And also, if you can get the ring of triumph, it slightly boosts maximum health, maximum stamina, and the maximum amount of weight that the wearer can carry. So for the fighter class, this is actually quite good. As you can see, for my weight down there, I'm currently light. I can actually go lower. I do tend to carry quite a few bits with me. Um, I don't think I could go very light, even if I removed everything from my menu that isn't just the armor. But if I just changed my chest piece to something else that I could easily do, um, I could possibly go very light. But for the fighter, this doesn't really make much of a difference, to be honest. What does make a difference is the skills and how you combine them and how you use them.
Have
To
you
take a
business with
look
the
at the
guild, sir?
skills, nothing
I should
best
be
than to
glad to
talk
assist you.
with the guild guy and go to the acquired skills. Now for the weapon skills, I'm using the burst strike. This is a must because this is the gap closer. Uh, so it allows you to advance forward with your sword, and pierce your enemies. In all honesty, being at level 65 and with this sword and with how much damage we are actually doing, this tends to one-shot most small enemies like goblins, skeletons, even the lizard creatures. This tends to one-shot them if you actually go for the tail. If you strike them from behind, this normally just gets the job done straightforward. So easy does it. For the second skill that I recommend is the Full Moon Slash. This does not do a tremendous amount of damage. It does do quite a lot of stagger damage. And also, it works as an AoE. So if you are surrounded with your shield up, which I recommend that you do, and you go for a full moon slash, you're going to clear the way and get yourself a little bit of room, which will allow you to reposition yourself or to take a few steps back if you need to recover your stamina. Now, the other thing I recommend is the shield drum. Now, this doesn't do any damage, of course. This is just an advanced form of shield summons, which just draws the ire of all the targets around you. So you basically get your enemy's attention towards you. And the reason why this is useful is because when you use the shield drum, especially from a distance, such as when fighting goblins and other small creatures, they will turn to you straight away and they will try to close the gap as well. And if you combine the shield drum with a little core skill called the true deflect, which basically it's a parry, you can actually stun enemies quite easily, especially if you do the shield drum. And as if you see in the example of the video, the guy actually gets attacked at the same time by two guys. If I do the parry there, both get struck. And all you have to do is press triangle and you will impale them one at a time, which is a one-shot kill as well. So I strongly recommend using the shield drum. Now, as you probably are aware, with the Maester skills, for the fighter, you get the Riotous Fury. Now, this is an absolute must. As you can see by the video, this is a combination of attacks, powerful blows that do massive damage, and leaves you a little bit vulnerable if the first strike doesn't hit. So you have to be at a certain close distance to the target. When fighting bosses, this will not stagger the boss, but it does stagger small and medium-sized enemies. Now, when fighting a boss, I only recommend that you actually go for the Righteous Fury if the boss is stunned and vulnerable on the floor, and you go for the weak spot. So if you are fighting a Cyclops, for example, and the Cyclops fall, go for the head, and when you get close to the head, just go with the Righteous Fury, and you're just gonna detonate the HP bar of the enemy. Now for the augments, this is when it comes in handy that you unlock other um, vocation augments, because you are going to see that I'm using things here that are not from the fighter, and they are very, very in handy. Now, I'm using Thew because it enables you to carry additional weight. I am the fighter and I am the main character. Most of the items that I find are carried by me. Yes, I can give them to my paw and my party members, but honestly, you still want to carry a lot of stuff with you, such as remedies and curatives, so you can recover your stamina and your HP if needs be. You also want to carry stuff like fairy stones, um, so this will help your character on the long run. This is actually one of the fighter skills. Another thing that I recommend strongly is the endurance. This is what you get from the archer. The archer will give you an increase to your maximum stamina. This is useful in whatever class, whatever vocation you use. This is a must-have, clearly. Another thing you can use, I like to use it, is the radiance, which you get, which causes your lantern to consume less oil and illuminate a wider area. I don't recommend this as a must-have. I recommend this is if you are exploring and you like to not sleep at all, and once you reach level 65, and if you have a mage in your party, you're constantly recovering HP, so you don't really need to sleep that often. You don't really have to skip time to recover your HP. This will help you maintaining your lantern with enough oil and through exploration, so you don't have to keep refilling it with oil. It's not a must-have, but something I would recommend. If you don't have radiance and you want to go with something else, what you could use is avidity, which you also get from the archer, and this basically enables you to climb up cliffs and foes and other surfaces a bit quicker. So as a fighter and you being the tank of the party, yes, you'll be drawing your enemy's attention, but At level 65, your pawn and your party members have enough HP to survive you not being the target. So if you just go with avidity, you can actually just get on their heads much faster and ditch some damage. So if you don't want to use the radiance, you can go with avidity. Another thing I do strongly recommend that you have is lethality, which you can also get from the archer, which basically says that it increases damage dealt when striking a target's vitals. Again, you climb onto a troll or a cyclops head, you press triangle, and I'm going to explain why triangle and not square. I'll explain that in a minute. You will do massive chunks of damage, and I will show you an example in a minute of how this actually works. Another thing I strongly suggest that you get is not poise, because this might lead you to think that this is when you're climbing, but it's not. This is when you are grabbed, when a foe grabs you and they are shaking you around, for example, when the Minotaur grabs a hold of you and shakes you in his hand, this is what it will help. So I don't really think this is a must. But Vigor reduces the stamina consumed when clinging on to a target. Oh yes, this you must have, because if you're climbing onto a Cyclops or a Griffin or a Dragon, you really want to be able to keep as much stamina as possible available so you can stay there and do damage for as long as possible before you have to jump off the target. So I strongly recommend that you use this as well. Verve, this is some, oh, by the way, Vigor is something you get from the Thief, and so is Verve. Verve, I mean, augments your strength. It couldn't be any more simple than that. As for the other things that I have unlocked so far, I mean, if you want to boost your party members, you can go with Veracity from the Magic Archer or Ascendancy from the Magic Archer, but these don't really benefit you, they benefit your pawns. So I don't really recommend going for these, truly. And this is basically the build itself. I'm going to show you a few examples of how to use this build to its effect and how to put the skills to good use. So during this side mission, which I'm not going to describe, you fight a Cyclops. First thing you want to do is drum your shield. You get his attention, he's going to go for you. You start climbing, and as you just saw, he completely missed my pawns because he was actually trying to hit me. In the meantime, I'm already climbing up his back. My mage is giving my sword some ice, and then you just press triangle once you reach his head. The helmet is giving him some protection, but the moment I get rid of the helmet, you can see each time I actually hit him with a triangle how much damage I'm actually doing. Yes, again, I know I'm level 65 and this is the initial area, so even the Cyclopses are not that strong, but still every time it's a massive chunk of HP that comes down. So after just a few strikes, as you can see, he's already dead, and that's it. Not much more to say. This is how you can use the fighter, especially against big monsters that you can climb. Now this quick example, I'm going to show what to do to those lizard enemies. You do the burst strike to the tail, they fall, and you finish with the impale by pressing triangle. It just so happens to be that during this cavern exploration, which is also related to another side quest, you happen to find a manticore, and when you do, first thing you want to do is climb onto it and grab a hold of the goat so you can stop it from casting spells. Again, press that triangle, and as you can see, every single hit does a tremendous amount of damage with this build, not only because I'm high strength, but because of the augments that increase the damage done to vital targets. And there you go, every time I press, it's a massive chunk. The goat is already dead. You can see I'm using the Righteous Fury here on the head, but unfortunately I actually lost track of the direction I was planning to hit. I just stopped a little moment to recover some stamina.
As you can see, my pawns are being a little bit stupid. They are not doing that much damage. But this is pretty much me dishing out all the damage again with another Fury attack. And again, just staying on top of it, blocking some of the damage. As you can see, I get absolutely no hits because you block with a shield. Do some impales on the face, and then you finish with another ultimate, as I like to call them, and that's another job done. Shield bash for the style, and that's it. Now, for my last example, this is another Cyclops fight that you actually find while he's asleep. And if you find him while he's asleep, you can just run to his head and you just start pressing that triangle straight away. You saw how much damage that first hit immediately did, but this is it. 5, 6 triangle hits and the Cyclops is down. Thank you so much for watching the video, guys. Leave any opinions or questions in the comments down below. Leave a like as well if you can. Share with your friends if you feel like they're going to appreciate this, and subscribe if you haven't just yet. I'll see you guys in the next build video. Cheerio!